And when it comes to creating what type of content you should be creating, then I always come back to the stop selling, start telling thing. And I stumbled onto a great TikTok about from a gal that used to work at Red Bull. And I want to play that for you right now. And then we are going to I'm going to go ahead and give you my thoughts on that after I play it. Okay. So let's do this and let's do this.
But you won't find a single product photo on any of their pages.
Tap me in, coach. I was a social media producer at Red Bull for 4.5 years. I produced content for our main handle. I produced content for our vertical channels. I traveled all over the US. I even traveled part of the world. When it comes to how Red Bull makes social content, I know a thing or two. What I wanted to say is what this guy's talking about in this video about how product photos are not featured in Red Bull content at all, it's incredibly intentional. In fact, it's one of the main pillars that is drilled into your head when you start working there. Can placement must be natural to the environment that it's in, or don't include it. Like if you're doing an athlete shoot, we would try to take a couple like naturally placed shots of them drinking from the can. But if it looked weird, or it was tacky, or it was out of place, we cut it. And this is because Red Bull was selling a lifestyle. And they were one of the first brands to realize to really do this, you need a content house. So they created Red Bull Media House. And Red Bull Media House was an entire separate entity, an entirely different business than the actual Red Bull that was the product. They created this entity so they could hire tons of producers, editors, creative development people to just fill out this entire ecosystem of content that you see on their social channels. And they were genius for doing this. Having that many people on staff and like a vertically integrated system meant that you could move fast and you could be always on. And it's why you're now seeing a lot of other major brands do the same thing. And whether you like the product or not, you know that they crush it on social media. We can't deny that.
So I absolutely love what she's saying there. And you're probably going to say to me, if you have watched my previous episode, you're going to be, Ryan, you just told me that I should be copying smaller creators, not massive, huge companies like Red Bull. And I agree that is correct when it comes to the type of content you're creating. But what I want you to think about is, how is Red Bull, how are they looking at their feed? Like, you need to look at your feed like it is an entire magazine or an entire day of television. And what that means is you don't want your feed to just look like advertisement. And there are so many social media, there are so many companies that still, their social media is still, that's all it is. An example is one of the companies that called me for the grand reopening. I looked at their Instagram and I'm like, oh man, this is just Canva graphic with the deal of the day, Canva graphic with the deal of the day, Canva graphic with the deal of the day. And I'm just like, nobody wants to see that on their social feed ever. So when you're looking at yourself, like, you are a media company. Like there's once you start putting content on social media, you are a media company. You're not an advertiser. You're a program director. The program director at a radio station is the person that decides what songs are played, what order is played, what promotions they're doing, all that stuff. And they decide, well, we need to strategically place these ads within an hour of radio so that people listen to our station longer, right? We can't have too many ads together. People punch out if they get more than 5. There's a total science to that type of stuff. And the same thing is true with your social media feed. You need to give people content that is educational, entertaining, make them laugh, make them think, come up with content like that. And then they're going to like you. They're going to trust you. They're going to know you. And when it's time for you to have a grand reopening, then you say, hey, by the way, thanks so much for checking out our content. We've got a grand reopening happening whatever day, but at this location, we've got all these. We've got a blah, 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 whatever it is, right? But I really want people to think about, when they're moving forward, think about the idea that you are programming your social media channel like it's a radio station or a TV station from the top down. Think about the content. You need to keep people there. And if you're just telling people, hey, I got a $14.95 oil change, well, that'd be a pretty good deal, I guess. But I got a $89.95 oil change, come in and see me. People are they're gonna tap out. They're not gonna follow you. They're not gonna engage with your content. They're not gonna care about it. Things like that. And the other thing of it is, when you do start planning out when you do plan things out, like when you're not panicking with your hair on fire at the last minute saying, oh my gosh, I've got these products that I need to sell immediately. And if I don't sell them, then, all hell's going to break loose. If you do plan your stuff out, then that gives you the ability to do really, really cool stuff. And this is a good time of year to look at some of that stuff. And I pulled a few items that I saw. And again, these are massive companies, right? So I'm not saying, hey, go copy Red Bull. But what I'm saying is, if Red Bull is not just having pictures of their can saying I don't even know what a can of Red Bull costs. It's, 2 for $5 at Quick Trip or whatever, wherever you buy your Red Bull. Like they're selling a lifestyle. They're creating entertaining content for their audience, for people that would like Red Bull. Well, what do those people like? Well, let's give them that in their social media feed. And the other thing you can do is you can do these cool things like what I'm going to show you right now. Now, I think this promotion is over, but let me see. Pull that up right there. And I will do that right there. And I'm going to go ahead and play this. This is a Pizza Hut promotion that they ran at the end of the year that was awesome.
Pizza Hut is a real one for doing this. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, Pizza Hut released this mat right here. Every morning at 8 a.m. Central Time, we still have today and tomorrow because this goes through the 10th. If you go to Pizza Hut's merch shop, that was a tongue twister, you can snag one of these. And basically what it is you leave it at your doorstep and any delivery driver can scan that code right there and get a free pizza. You love to see it. And even though Pizza Hut is only giving these away until December 10th, the doormat codes are valid until the 27th. So delivery drivers can redeem them all the way up till the 27th. They can scan them. I'm going to be logging on tomorrow to try to get one.
Like that is great marketing. At this time of year, people love to see things where companies are giving back, and Pizza Hut is getting brand recognition because if you're listening to this and you're not watching it, it's basically a doormat that you put out there, and it allows delivery drivers to scan the doormat and get a discount when they order a pizza at Pizza Hut. So it's just an incredibly unique way to market your product. And this thing, last night, my wife came home and she said, hey, she's like, hey, go tell Alexa to thank my driver. I was like, what are you talking about? She goes, well, she's like, Amazon has this program now where they basically give bonuses to their drivers when you say, Alexa, thank my driver, right? And I'm going to share this video with you real quick and show you exactly how they do it, because I thought it was, again, amazing. Killer marketing. Amazon doesn't have the best reputation for the way they treat their employees. It's a mega company. There's a lot of things to dislike about Amazon. I think we all can agree on that, but they figured something out. They figured out how to deliver things to people, and they figured out logistics, and they're killing it. And this marketing play is brilliant.
Alexa, thank my driver.
Glad you enjoyed your most recent delivery. Since you shared your appreciation, as a special thanks this holiday season, your driver will receive an extra $5 at no cost to you. This promotion is for a limited time only.
So that right there is another just amazing example of marketing that gives back to people. And it's still great. It leaves you, it leaves you feeling good about Amazon, of all companies that people just, they don't generally feel good about it. Like, you buy things from Amazon, but everybody kind of knows in the back of their mind, like, you hear the stories about the way the drivers are treated, the way the warehouse people are treated, and all of that. And it all very well may be true. I'm not 100% sure. I'm sure there's some truth to it, but this is a killer promotion. Just take all the feelings out of Amazon and look at what they did. They built brand. They they gave something back to their employees at no cost to you. And it's social. It's something you want to tell people about. Like, oh my gosh, Amazon's doing this. Go tell people. Absolutely brilliant. But the king of end of year marketing, in my opinion, goes to Spotify with the Wrapped list. And I'm going to share with you my Spotify Wrapped, because I think it's fun. And I'm going to show you some of the songs. Let me see if I can turn this thing on here real quick. If you're not on Spotify, then you might not know about this, but I love the wrap thing at the end of the year. And basically what they do is they go through and they tell you, this is how much you listened. This is who you listen to most. And then they've got it set up so you can automatically share this stuff to Instagram. And it breaks down your the number one artist you listen to. My number one was Need to Breathe. Who's number two? Let's see, we'll go back. Number 2 is Judah and the Lion. Number 3 was Van Halen. We're mixing it up there with some old school music. Number 4 is Fits in the Tantrums. Number 5 is OAR. I think it's just top 5, right? Yeah, that's just it, top 5. But I just absolutely love, and I think that Spotify just completely nail this. Every single time I get the Spotify thing, I look forward to it. It's a fun thing to do. So again, you don't necessarily, you don't have the budget of a Spotify. I don't expect you to have a budget of a Spotify. My point in sharing the things that Amazon and Pizza Hut and these giant companies are doing is to give you an idea of how to think outside of the box. How can you give back to maybe your employees or give back to the community around the holidays and still get good branding for yourself, get good name recognition, get yourself out there, get top of mind awareness. I mean, the end of the year is a great time to do that because it's the holidays. But if you look at your calendar for 2024, you can schedule things that are fun, that are around all the things that go on throughout the year. I mean, if you look at, you've got, when you get into the spring, you've got March Madness, you've got the Masters in April. Like, look at all, and those are both sports related, but those are big cultural things. You know what I mean? And so my point is, if you take the time to plan, especially if you could plan out your whole year, and you look at, who are my ideal customers? Who are my most valuable people out there? What are they into? If you take your time, if you spend the time now, especially if you are lucky enough to where it's slower this time of year for you, which a couple of my clients it is, and this is a great time for us to get into the weeds and really dig deep and come up with ideas, because once things start rocking and rolling and things get crazy busy, you don't have time to sit down and come up with ideas and things like that. So if you've got that downtime during the holidays or now, take that time to meet with your business partners, your staff, your husband, your wife, and bounce off ideas and come up with stuff that you liked, And one other thing that I would tell you to do when you're planning for 2024 and you're planning next year is keep your eye out for things that you see that you like. Like, if you see another company running a killer marketing promo and it's, for the beginning of summer or 4th of July or whatever, write that down so that next December, when you're planning for 2025, you can pull out your notebook or pull out your Apple Note and go through those ideas and look at your long-term plan. Like, what can we do to get in front of the right kind of people, and how can we stay in front of those people? How can we bring them value? How can we make them laugh? How can we make them think? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.